Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another production meeting. My friends are here, and this is our anniversary. Our anniversary video this week. We are 1 year old.
What'd you get me, Clint?
A pat on the back.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I have free hug coupons if you want them.
And what are they, expired?
No, I'd rather pay for my hugs, man.
Okay.
I don't need your free ones.
Oh, be careful. You get in trouble for that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we are 1 year old. Some of us act like we're still one, but it's okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys do this week?
What did I do this week? I didn't do anything. I just watched the homework and played some more Phoenix Rising. I'm telling you, this game is like the cartoon version of Assassin's Creed. There's too many missions to do. It's fun, but there's too many to do.
But it's fun.
I think that's literally all I did. I mean, I bought a new game, but I didn't play it yet.
What game did you buy?
I went on sale for $20. I bought Watch Dogs Legion because I heard it was very similar to. I don't know if I believe this at all, but they said it was close to Ghost of Tsushima, Ryan. Very close. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. And what? Judging by this cover, I don't see it, but that's for me to determine.
Get a little bit into it and let me know.
It sounds like they were just trying to sell you a game, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, there's a pig head. You know, there's this pig somewhere in Tsushima. No, they also said it was like Miles Morales too, and I'm like,
another recent popular game that has.
I'm like, I think I was had, but for $20, I probably would have dove into it anyway. So might as well get it cheap.
Okay. Guys.
I finally went back to work. So I've been going to work for the past 7 days. They haven't been long days, but that's what I've been doing. And now my mind's just clouded with that stuff. So I watched the homework like all of us did. Obviously, you know, we watched, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched The Mighty Ducks, which isn't homework. That was extra credit.
That was extra credit.
Watched that Godzilla junk. But what I did watch a couple of nights ago was that new Eric Andre movie on Netflix, Bad Trip. I don't know if anybody has watched Eric Andre on Cartoon Network, but he's a little out there. He's a little
yes.
He asks very probing questions.
Yes, he does. This movie is, you know, kind of like a Borat-ish type of movie where he goes out and they film outrageous scenes with people unknowingly, you know, knowing what's going on. And it was entertaining. And actually, I think it puts, like, I have always seen him as like that crazy comic, but I actually get more of him as a human person in this movie, even though he does outlandish things. There's more of that side to him. So, I mean, if you like his comedy, I would check it out. If you like films like Borat, I would check it out. It is very gratuitous. It is kind of graphic. There's some really ridiculous stuff in there, but I thought it was entertaining. And some of the reactions were actually pretty funny from the people. So I do recommend that, though.
Cool.
I got to go see the film Nobody in theaters twice, actually. Because I didn't really enjoy it the first time as much, and it's way better the second time. I don't know. I think that was just nothing to say about the movie whatsoever. I had a really negative experience in the theater the first time.
Oh, okay.
So, guys, movie complete blast by the writer from John Wick, director who did Hardcore Henry, which terrible movie, great, a very inspired direction in that movie. Give a lot of credit for that style.
Yeah, I heard that. What was it, Hardcore Henry? Yeah, I heard that was terrible.
It's ridiculous. It's a bad idea, but it's arguably well executed for what they wanted to do. And he takes that visual style, puts it in a very fun. And I saw this in another review, so I feel bad just copying it, but a very fun and forgettable John Wick DLC. In a sense that it is no John Wick, but if you set kind of moderate expectations, it's a blast. It's got some great action sequences. Bob Odenkirk's awesome. And it is even silly at times, but it's a totally fun movie to go see, considering other things that are coming out that aren't quite as fun.
Yeah, I'm supposed to see that tomorrow. I'm thinking of seeing that, so I'm like, okay, now I have a recommendation.
Yeah, man. Cool beans. I watched Mighty Ducks besides the homework.
Boo.
Uh,
I don't know.
I
man.
thought I heard someone say quack. Is that what I heard?
I kind of enjoyed the first episode. Like it's fine.
It's a fun show. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to see like why he's like in a skating rink. What 20 some odd years later? Like that'd be pretty interesting. But it is kind of the same concept as the movies, just a little flipped. But yeah, that's good.
Literally the only thing I didn't like about it, and I don't know how long it's going to go or if they'll ever change it, is the name of his team. Like I thought the Don't Bothers was really, that did not hit for me, and I was like, really, that's what we're going with? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't bothers.
Yeah.
That's
gotta be an obvious like, oh, we're going to switch our name.
that's as silly as like a superhero named Invincible.
Well, it's like it's based on it's taken
Premonition
from
there.
like a speech his mom does, or a
Yeah.
diatribe she goes on earlier in the show. So
Yeah.
that's what it's taken from.
From your mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll be the Ducks by the end of the series, I'm sure.
I'm sure they'll take it back over. Yeah, it was fine. You guys ready for some news? We're gonna do some light news today because last week we were like bombarded with it. So Suicide Squad got 2 trailers. Did you guys actually watch the Suicide Squad trailers?
Go
Absolutely.
ahead, Ryan. I want to hear Ryan's thoughts.
Yes.
I thought they were a blast.
Yeah, man.
I am happy about a lot of things. First off, I thought the second trailer was better than the first one, and having it getting to see a surprise trailer in theaters last night, really fun. Because I was like, oh, it's a Suicide Squad trailer. Oh, it's a different Suicide Squad trailer. Looks like a ton of fun. Cannot wait to see this massive cast just get massacred by its own screenplay in the best of ways.
Yeah.
By its willingness to just off characters, which I'm sure will happen. I definitely still want to see the David Ayer cut of the original, but I'm sure we'll see that in 8 years, not next year. Yeah, and this trailer's coming out for a movie coming out in August instead of 14 months before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
So they don't have enough time to recut the entire film into neon garbage.
Yeah, I wasn't fortunate enough to see a theatrical only version of the trailer. I was neither blown away nor like absolutely disgusted by the trailer. I think for me it was like, I think it's like we've been down this road kind of before, kind of being zany, superhero-y type. I mean, literally we have done this before. So it's like, I think there's a huge amount of potential for sure, but I think I'm like hesitant to just get my hopes up for anything. But with James Gunn, it's kind of hard to keep those expectations low. So, I'm just gonna kind of coast to the release. It's fine. It's not horrible, nor do I think it's great. So,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the trailer. I haven't seen the second one. I don't really want to see it. The first one was enough. I wanted to see what this is going to look like. I was very interested at how unshiny it looked, like how raw it looked. It didn't look expensive. Let me put it that way. It looked not cheap, but not like over the top expensive and stylized. And so I'm kind of wondering how much money they actually spent and if the studio got a pretty good deal on this film. I'm really interested in seeing it. The humor definitely looks like it's there, and I'm very excited to watch half his cast die off. So
Yeah.
that should be good.
Matt, I will say the second trailer is just about what it's like watching a different camera angle with the same shot. It's not too different. It doesn't give anything more away. Just kind of, it only highlights maybe 10% more of what the tone's going to be like.
Do we see more starfish?
No, we
Okay.
see less starfish.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. You see a little bit less Starro. But I will say that the second trailer, like if you watch the first trailer, don't watch the second trailer. Because
Okay.
I do think the second trailer actually does show a little bit more of the movie. So if like you see one, like, and you don't want to see both, yeah, I'd watch the Red Band trailer more than this one. But yeah, I was. This is very James Gunn. Like, you can definitely tell this is very James Gunn esque. I was very pleasantly surprised by John Cena. I think that he's going to be an amazing addition to this cast. Of course, Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn, and I was kind of surprised that Stallone was doing King Shark. I think that's going to be a good character to watch too. So, yeah, watch both trailers. They're both awesome. So, moving on. Mortal Kombat and Venom are both pushed back another week. Go ahead, Ryan.
Mortal Kombat makes sense. I don't know if they gave a reason for that. I think it was just, it felt like they were like, oh, Kong's going to do really well. We should give ourselves an extra week.
Mm-hmm. So I think Kong did like 120 something million in like China or something.
Are we kidding ourselves, man? Why are they getting out of the way of one film after we haven't had a single big film in theaters for like a year?
It is a gamble that, based on my experience in a completely packed theater, in a theater full of sold out shows, probably will pay off this weekend.
Yeah.
Even with AMC still closing like 40% of its seats.
Wow.
Well, I know I looked up, and this is off topic, but Regal isn't even opening most of their theaters. They're only opening like their big screens. Like the one in our area isn't opening up until the end of next month. Actually, May, I think, when A Quiet Place comes out, or in Cruella.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
I may withdraw some of what I said.
Well, was there a reason given for, I mean, not that one, but for, what was the other one? Venom. Yeah, was there a reason?
Done?
Yeah, right. Not that anybody really cares.
Because they're having second thoughts already.
Yeah, probably.
That's my favorite.
Woody Harrelson's hair kind of scared them. So. Yeah, no, but Ryan is right. I think that I did read that Warner Brothers wanted to give a little breathing room for Kong, Godzilla and Kong. So they're pushing Mortal Kombat back to the 23rd of April. And Venom is like another, I think it's like the 24th of September. So, yay. Another trailer, more trailer news. Bad Batch got another trailer. Yay. Star Wars fans out there?
Well, okay. I'm gonna, this is one where I want to not watch it so that I don't, like, I want to get not spoiled. I want to go into this completely fresh.
As well.
Yeah. That's the only reason I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I saw, like, I was about to watch it and I saw the heading of an article that said something about it. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to know any of that.
Right.
So it seems like something that exists to give more of a direction for the series for people who are curious. But that lack of direction was what had me curious. So I kind of wanted to go into it with that expectation. Kind of like the teaser trailer for Rogue One versus the consecutive 4 trailers we got for it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That was like on point.
All right. Well, Adam Wingard, who's the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, is developing a ThunderCats movie. Yay. Speaking on his recent work. Okay. Yeah, I guess. I did not say that if this was going to be like a hybrid live action animated, if it was going to be fully animated or whatever. I'm guessing that it's probably going to be live action, kind of Transformers-esque, Godzilla-esque. So, I mean, what do you guys think? ThunderCats movie?
I made a joke about it before, but I'm calling it now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is playing Panthro. That's it. I'm done. He's got the role.
That's not even a joke. I think that's a slam dunk. I think that's going to happen. You watch. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Who knows, man? I'm hoping it's live action. That would be weird, though. I don't know if they could play it off. You know what happens last time we tried to turn people into cats and have them run around on screen.
That movie, excuse me, Best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
no,
man.
Matt, this one's gonna have more Judi Dench, so it's okay.
She's Katara.
She's playing Mumra.
Mamra. Oh, Dame Judi Dench. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fine.
I think this is gonna be one that's not impressive, but not a total blockbuster bomb either. I think it's just gonna open up ho hum.
Well, we also know what Adam Wingard also directed, right?
I don't off the top of my head.
Death Note.
Yeah.
I thought that one was okay. I wasn't blown away by it, but I didn't hate it either. So exactly like that. So you kind of back up my idea. I think that's exactly the kind of,
Yeah.
at least from me. I know most people didn't really care for it, but I thought it was all right.
Well, and that's my fear is that like his first couple movies were very low budget, very like there were these horror movies and they were good. And then it's kind of like Michael Bay where you give him money and then it turns into that. And it's like, yeah, it was like, okay. But that's just my fear. Moving on, Ghost of Tsushima is getting a film by Chad Stahelski. I hope I pronounced his name right. He's the director and writer of the first John Wick movie. I personally thought that this would be better as a series, like a limited series, since it is an open world game. But what do I know?
I don't know. I think the ending of that game can be portrayed in a movie very well, and it's that two-thirds of the game that really is going to be the movie easily. That first half, that's just quests. Who's going to watch a movie about just questing? I'm sure there's some.
I can see what you mean. And as far as like if you wanted it to feel like the game, it should be a miniseries. But that story, let's say you just trim the fat of that story, not trying to say anything negative about gameplay, of course, but if you cut that down to its story, it is a really well-rounded 3-act structure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, that's where they were like, this works perfectly as a film, even if you have to cut more out to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like it either way. If I had to lean between that and a film and a miniseries, I don't know. That's really hard. I'd probably go film.
I'd pick the miniseries for the runtime, but that's selfish. 6 hours of Tsushima or 2.5 hours of Tsushima.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, somebody better pitch this to Netflix and have them go negotiate then.
We're gonna
Ryan's
get
all
like Tsushima animated series.
now see, that's a thing. Like we joke about that, but I think that should be a thing. I really think that should be a thing.
Well, just give it
I'd be up
5
for an
years.
anime. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll announce it in about a year.
And then release it in about maybe 5 years.
Yes.
Yep. I'm very excited about this. I wouldn't have been until John Wick 3. I would have been like, oh, okay. But seeing what he can do with that kind of Hong Kong harness style action that he does in the third film, just incredible grasp over choreography and direction. I mean, I know he's not the only one working on the third film at that point, but
I keep thinking of who should be the Jin Sakai, who should play the main character. I'm just kind of
Keanu Reeves.
As much as a national treasure he is, no.
Well, I've heard that people are petitioning for the actual actor to do it because isn't he like an actual actor?
A lot of that
copy
motion
paste the
capture.
cast.
Yeah, a lot of that motion capture, you can kind of see what the person already looks like anyway. So
They could take the cutscenes and release it in theaters, and I would pay to see it.
Or you just give Jet Li a call because he's not doing anything, and then he can come out.
Oh, Matt, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. Nah, man.
Anyway, two more bits of news, and then some sad news. First off, thank you, Matt, for reminding me. I actually didn't put it in my notes, but Netflix purchased the next 2 sequels for Knives Out for a whopping $450 million. Daniel Craig is coming back to play, exactly. Netflix backed up the truck for this. Yeah. Okay. I guess it's the next 2 sequels.
I think that's the craziest thing about this is that 2 sequels. I saw this that year in Thanksgiving, or near it, whenever, and I thought it was okay. I was like, I think this deserves a sequel, and I know that the sequel would be better, and that's what my hope is for. I don't know if it deserves 2 sequels, but I dig the whole Daniel Craig as the main. Like, that's a pivotal thing. Like, having him back as kind of like a detective type series of movies, yeah, that can work, and I agree with that, at least for 1 sequel. Now the second sequel, who knows, maybe we're jumping the gun here a little bit, but I approve the transaction however it goes.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Alex. I think Netflix probably sees this as them purchasing a franchise, something that they can make multiple movies of using that same central character. I mean, we're gonna probably get Knives Out 4 and 5 and 6. If these first 2 do well, man, it'll be the next Kissing Booth, except with more murder.
Kissing Booth.
More murder.
Oh, because it's Netflix.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. All right. So next up, they released the Obi-Wan Kenobi series cast. I'm just going to kind of quickly go over some of these that weren't already named, like Kamal Nanjiani, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, and who else wasn't, like Rupert Friend. Oh, and Joel Edgerton is coming back. Sorry, I was just looking over the cast list. Yes. So any surprises? Any kind of like raised eyebrows for any of this?
No Jar Jar Binks motion capture artist that I could not remember the name of.
That you know of, Ryan. This isn't the entire cast.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. I kind of expected Joel Edgerton to come back. I mean, he's Owen, so. But I was kind of surprised by not Kamal Nanjiani and Rupert Friend. That kind of surprises me. Like, an Ice Cube's kid. Like, all right, sure.
I have to double look at this.
Do you think like Kamal Nanjiani or somebody in that cast is going to be the equivalent to Bill Hader, and they're just going to make some sound effects in a booth and be a Jawa or something?
I hope not.
I agree.
I wonder how many cars that Sung Kang is going to drive fast and furiously in this series.
All of them.
Okay.
We're going to actually start getting spin-offs set in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Star Wars Fast and Furious.
Yeah, he can be a pod racer just driving around, flying around.
There you go.
Force and Furious.
No, it's Fast and Insidious. I win.
That was good.
You win. Yes. And the trophy goes to Alex.
I want a prequel, a Fast and Furious prequel about Darth Sidious's extreme racing days.
You think his pod racer's red?
Come to the dark side. We have Diesel.
And lastly, some sad news. Jessica Walter has passed away at the age of 80. RIP, Miss Walter. For those of you that don't know who she is, she will probably be best known for her role as Lucille Bluth in Arrested Development.
Yep.
And the voice of Mallory Archer in Archer. I didn't really watch Arrested Development, but Archer I'm a huge fan of, so I'm kind of upset that she's gone. So bye, Miss Walter. And that's the news, unless you guys got anything else.
Let's see.
Well,
I can't
fill
think
some
of
time.
anything.
I can
Yeah.
fill some time for Matt while he searches. Who are the ThunderCats?
Oh, Jesus.
Did you say who are the ThunderCats?
Have you seen the Mighty Ducks? I'm just playing.
Now, when I say who are the ThunderCats, I'm aware of their existence in pop culture. And it's
So
a rhetorical question. I don't need an answer. I was just
Okay.
buying time for Matt to find some news.
Oh, okay.
I feel
It's
like I
like
needed to
Matt and
contribute.
Clint both at the same time bring out this chest that they both have. Let me show you the ThunderCats.
All right, let me pull out my thunder tank right quick.
Right.
ThunderCats, oh!
No, I don't really think there's any other news. Nothing too crazy. You covered most of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
As far as video games go, I don't think anything came out except that we know the PlayStation Plus games for next month being Oddworld Soulstorm being the highlight. Well, I mean, I'm gonna play it if it's free, but otherwise, what? I think that's it.
Cool. All right, so let's get into our reviews because we had a few things to review this week. First up is our MCU Files. So Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2. Bleep. So Bucky and Sam finally meet up because Bucky's a little upset that Sam gave the shield away, and they are tracking the flag smashers. Sorry. And they get introduced to new Captain America. We get a little backstory on Captain America, or John Walker, I should say. And that's about it, without going into spoilers. So I enjoyed this episode more than I did the first one, because, like I said last week, I think that these two actors, Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, have very good chemistry on screen, and it shows when they're on screen together. And I dug the fight scenes. There's a little bit more action to this one than there was last week. But yeah, I'm getting the sense that like they're gonna kind of turn John Walker into like a villain in this series, because he kind of showing flashes of his like aggressiveness. So, and we got
Go ahead, man.
super soldiers.
What would you rate this one? I don't know if you said that.
Oh, probably an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I concur, sir. 8 out of 10. This is the episode I wanted, not the one from last week, which is the one I didn't want. The action scenes in this was inspired and actually were entertaining to watch. This combo gives me serious, you'd look at him and you're like, oh man, it's kind of like Hobbs and Shaw. No, man, this is like Lethal Weapon. These guys are hilarious together. This is funny. Like, even though they're not trying to be funny the entire time, it's pretty funny. This is a good scene. This makes me a little nervous though, because I realize that a lot of the scenes, this whole episode is almost what that trailer, the last trailer for the show was almost.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's going to happen in the next 4 episodes. I enjoyed it. I thought, like I said, the action scenes were good. The comedy was good. I think the story progressed. Like you, what's his name? John Walker. John Walker. I don't know if he's this last week. I thought maybe he was going to go like super villain or very villain. I think he's more going to be an anti-hero eventually. I don't think, from what I saw, he didn't really have evil tendencies. He just had do what you have to do at all costs to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily do the right thing to do the right thing, but do anything so that the right thing can happen. So, I think that's probably going to be the case. I really enjoyed it. So 8 out of 10.
Brian, you want to go or you want me to go?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll get mine. I also agree that this is better than the last week. Because the last week's structure was basically, I'm gonna put this really cool, fight scene / flight scene together, and then the rest of the episode's pretty boring, honestly. So it's like, the story's fine in the first one, but I think it's way better in this one. It's more interesting. It's engaging all the way through. Even what are maybe perceived as downtime in this episode are interesting. Even like, I was about to say, maybe I should wait until spoilers. Overall, I like this episode. The fight scenes, I agree with Matt. They were more not believable, but like they just were,
Grounded.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it. Yeah, literally. Yeah, there was just yeah, it felt like the traditional MCU fight. It was like, okay, don't, if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of deal. We broke it a little bit, so let's put it back together and how we had it. And yeah, and I liked it. I was kind of floating around an 8 too. I think I'll go ahead and say an 8 as well, just kind of be a conformist here. Yeah, I like where the story's going. I agree wholeheartedly with you both that the chemistry between Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie is actually really good. They got that like kind of buddy cop thing going on where they're not trying to be funny, but they are funny. I got a few good laughs out of this one. So yeah, 8 out of 10. I hope it continues like this.
I was a little less optimistic. It's fine. I think based on the rest of the show, I will probably retrospectively give this a 7. So I'll be safe and go ahead and give it a 7, assuming that the show doesn't want to vision itself by the end. Yeah, there are things I really enjoyed in it, but they're little things. I mean, the chemistry is obviously great, and even though the writing felt like it was really trying to make them funny, the times where they weren't sitting like right beside, face to face in the interrogation room, those were actually better moments, I think, than the ones that were trying to be funny. My favorite thing about this episode was John Walker, and I think we should probably talk about that when we get a little more spoilery. Not that there's major spoilers to be had, but I was really intrigued and then immediately disappointed by what the direction the show is probably going with this character.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I'll keep it as a 7. I feel a 6 about it, but I don't remember what I gave last week, and this is a point better. So, but I did really, really miss a superhero sitting in a bank talking about interests and income.
That's why I didn't give this episode a 9, Ryan.
Yeah, it's really missing that. What if we lose the boat?
The camera work was just way too steady in this episode for me personally.
Yeah, the stakes were too high, actually.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's a good episode. I loved Henry Jackman's score. You know what? That's a 7 right away for me. Hearing the music now, I mentioned it last week because I loved hearing the Winter Soldier theme in the flashback. They use like Falcon's theme from Winter Soldier because it's Henry Jackman coming back, and the only movies they've used that is Winter Soldier and Civil War. And I've been the lack of consistency in the Marvel soundtracks are driving me insane. It is so nice to hear steady music, and now I can listen to my Winter Soldier trilogy of soundtracks when this is all done.
So I wonder if Ryan would have liked this episode better if somebody would have just went like this to him.
Yes, probably. No, I mean I really enjoyed the music for it, so I'm definitely a fan of Henry Jackman's music. Any MC music that stands out is worth noting. Few and far between.
nice.
Those 3 that I mentioned actually.
All right, well, let's go spoilers then. First spoiler that I am kind of interested to see what they're going to do with Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America that they kind of just like shoved aside in Baltimore of all places. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see like if they're going to circle back to like his character and like see what they're going to do with it. And of course, we got a little shot of Zemo, Baron Zemo. So
Were we supposed to know who Isaiah Bradley is? I did not know.
No.
Okay. I thought I was
Well-
just like totally like if you don't read all the books or know any like outside information. Yeah, because I don't read any of the books.
yeah,
Okay.
so casual fans know you're not really supposed to know who he is.
Okay, good. Because I was like, okay, I have no idea who this guy is, but I'm getting a little bit of background information on who he was. So okay. I agree with Ryan. I like John Walker a lot in this. You do get that sense at the end where he's like, just stay the hell out of my way. Where he is gonna be that guy. Like, I think Matt's right, where he's like, he's not gonna be like going all villain. He's more like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get things done. And if you happen to be in the way, that's on you. Rip. And so yeah, I like, he's a good character to follow, like, and he might be ending up being that guy who you love to hate, maybe not, I don't know. I like him. I like that scene. Ryan mentioned it before with the interrogation room. Yeah, that was a nice little chemistry thing. That was cool. That was funny. It was like kind of fun to see them play off of each other, and it was cool. I like that. That was my favorite scene in the entire episode. But yeah, so
now the question is, at the end of this series, how many super soldiers are we going to get? Is it going to be Walker?
11d6.
Is it going to be, are all three of them going to be super soldiers? Are we, is Walker going to do it? Is Battlestar going to become a super soldier?
Yes.
So I'm interested to see how many of them, and I think that's probably the culmination, is they're all going to become super soldiers and all fight at the end of this show. And that's probably why Mr. Bradley is in here, so he can give some blood to the Falcon and pump him up some. And I have a feeling that's where this is going to go.
One of the scenes that was driving me nuts for a second was when they were chasing after those two trucks and they thought there was a hostage in there, and Bucky gets in. He goes to the front one, to the back part to open it up and go. And I'm like, why is that back truck not doing anything? He's like literally right there.
Well,
Why?
I think it's obviously because they planned some sort of weird trap.
Exactly.
I don't know why they would lock their leader in the truck either, just so we could do a cool reveal that it's like, oh, it's not a hostage.
Exactly. Like, even if they knew, like, hey, we know you're in the corner there. We know you're watching us. Hey, just get in the trunk. We know that they're going to rescue you.
Who was played by what's that girl's name?
Nest?
Yeah, Erin Kellyman.
What
You
is
saw
she?
from Solo.
Really?
Oh, that was
character.
it. Yeah. I was like, I know her, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I am kind of curious to see more from that character too, because later on in the episode, you get the idea that, I mean, these people are definitely doing some morally reputable things, but they don't necessarily seem like bad people. They've got supporters.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm a little fuzzy on their goal, their mission statement per se, but I have a feeling that this kind of group is either going to become not the antagonists, or is going to become kind of a perverted version of their goals.
If I'm speculating, I think they're going to become not the antagonists, but they're going to end up getting murdered or sacrificed somehow, and it's just not going to look good to Bucky and Sam. So,
yeah, I think the power broker is going to be like the power broker and / Zemo is probably going to be like the main villain of this series, because they do through towards the back half of this episode, you kind of get this feeling like they're kind of like these Robin Hood type characters, and they're kind of like their intentions are good, but they're not executing very well, and that they have it almost builds this like emotional attachment to them. So I'm getting a feeling, like you said, Matt, that they're probably going to be like the sacrificial lambs of this series. So yeah.
Now, the thing that bothered me, I think, the most in this episode, and Alex, you talked about it a little bit actually. I really like the character John Walker. I loved his introduction. I thought he was an interesting character. I love that they've got like the band playing the Star Spangled Man theme from World War II. That kind of, you get more of the pop culture influence of Captain America as a character, and you kind of get why you want to rebrand him. It makes sense. We're going to remake this. It's the same we do with everything. We're getting a new Mr. Peanut and all this stuff. And then, we know the protagonists. We know Bucky and Sam, so we get it. Why are they being so freaking stubborn about accepting assistance from people that can offer them legitimate assistance and resources and reliable transportation and get out of jail free cards? And I know, well, you answer to the government. We answer to nobody, except that Bucky answers to the government more or less. And Sam's equipment is on loan from the government, and they don't get paid. And they're just going to go off and do this themselves because they're mad about Captain America. It's not like John's got a choice. I felt really bad for John Walker because he's like, guys, I really want to work with you guys. I'm like, no, you're stealing Cap's legacy.
You're different. Go away.
And he's like, okay, but can we continue? Let me go out. Let me extend an olive branch. Now can we work together? No. Okay, fine. I'm gonna do this on my own. I don't feel bad for him at all.
I think
to be the hero.
I think it comes to the point where, as far as character wise, I think it's a trust issue. Like, it irritates them, but to see what the government did, there's no reason for them to trust the character or trust the person that they just gave this shield to. And I think that just rubs them the wrong way. So he's got to earn that respect to get that respect from them.
Right. Because I think that's like you said, Matt, I think that's the whole point, is because like Steve gave Sam the shield because he knew that he wasn't going to be tied to the government, because that was the whole thing in Civil War. He needed to go where he needed to go because that's what he felt was right. And he didn't want to answer to anybody. And that was the whole point of Civil War. And so when Sam kind of like gives up that shield, it becomes then government property, as they kind of mentioned that Redbird is. And so that's why Bucky's a little upset. And I think because Bucky went through everything with Steve in the 40s, he kind of understands like the whole legacy of the shield. And so when you're forced to trust somebody that's not his shield, you know what I mean? And so I understand what you're saying, and I completely agree with you, but it's, I think in the same token, it's like these two have been through literal hell with Steve just to have some guy take up the shield because he's forced to.
And Bucky's having to like literally go through nightmares of previous, hit jobs. So I mean, he's got that going against him too.
I see that, and I totally agree with it. But once again, I wish they would have sat down and had that conversation, what you just said. And I know the audience, I know that goes against what I'm going to talk about in a later review that we're talking about. But it was something that bothered me in Civil War, actually, in Captain America Civil War, where there's this there's this presence of subtext where Hawkeye goes to save Scarlet Witch because he feels responsible because of Ultron, but they don't say it. So it's kind of weird that you have to assume it when a lot of Marvel is willing to sit down and have heart-to-hearts with you. And every once in a while, you're like, oh, well, I guess he was bored playing golf because that's what he told me as the audience. And this, it's like, I understand, but John doesn't understand, and it's not his fault. So I just felt like they were like I get it from their perspective, but I almost wish they'd be like, look, come, sit down and coffee. We don't want to do this with you. Instead of being like, thanks for the get out of jail free card, we're going to just walk away from you.
You sound like me, Ryan, where I'm always complaining about lack of communication in these movies.
I do.
Just talk it out, man.
I'm sure I was recently defending Raya, where now I'm doing the same thing that you were complaining about in Raya.
Yeah.
No excuses. Inconsistencies. It's fine. It's a good episode.
Yeah, but I also think that this is like Sam's way of like going away from the government too, because his whole reaction to like Redbird being a part of the government, like the government property, he was just like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think that builds his distrust with the government as well.
It's kind of weird that he doesn't assume that. If you have a suit and you have a big piece of technology that goes with the suit, and the government gave you that suit when you were a soldier, and you steal it, but then you use it to help save people, it's not like they gave it to you.
So it almost sounds like you're giving him motivation to lose said suit for another suit.
Da, da.
Suit and tie.
Yeah. Can I just give the writers props for the Black Falcon dialogue? That they had in there?
Right.
Yes. Yes.
I'll call you Black Kid.
All right.
That was the greatest, man.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up. Any other thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Excited for next week.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Excited for tomorrow. Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah. Tonight.
Tomorrow.
Unless you're like Matt, who stays up till.
I can't anymore, man. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Oh, yob. All right. Well, these MCU files are closed then. So part one of our reviews this week is going to be Invincible. We watched the first three. Well, some of us watched the first three episodes of Invincible. which is a animated Amazon Prime series by Robert Kirkman. Was based on a comic book, and it is about Mark Grayson, who sounds a little like Dick Grayson, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he is a teenage superhero, and his dad is Omni-Man, who is from another planet, I believe. That's what was. Bless you. So in these couple episodes, he gets his powers, tries to use his powers, and then is like, kind of like recruited into the Teen Titan type group.
Guardians of the Globe, I think. Or no, that was another thing. But yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, it's the Justice League-esque. And then the Teen Titans-esque team that he helps with invading aliens. And yeah, it's 3 episodes. I can remember all that happened in these 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I give this like a 6. I knew of the books. Like I read like a couple of them, so I knew the twist that was going to happen. We'll get that in the spoilers later. I like Stephen Yeun as the voice of Mark. I think it's really good. Matt made a joke that J.K. Simmons needs to stop doing comic book stuff, but I say negative, more J.K. Simmons.
I think he just makes a really bad teacher between Korra and Whiplash and this.
Yeah. So I gave this a 6. I think that there's some parts of this that was way over the top, like even more like we've watched 2 seasons of The Boys, and I think that some of that is kind of over the top, but like this was way over the top. Like there was some of this that was just wow. And like the first like 2 episodes were kind of bland. Like it was kind of boring, and they're 40 minutes long. I was kind of surprised by that as well. Like this is 40 minutes.
I know, to Ryan's point, I was surprised J.K. Simmons didn't go, am I rushing or am I dragging?
But yeah, I mean, it was okay. Like I give it a 6. I'm more interested in like the side characters, like what is it, Adam Eve? I think she was an interesting character, and some of his friends and stuff. And I want to see where it goes, but I'm not going to be like, it's Friday, it's Invincible Day. So,
Ryan, you want to go next?
I was going to piggyback off that and say I agree with everything you just said. I agree with all that. I watched the first 2 episodes. I was not that interested. I was interested enough. I went from a 5 to a 6 for me because I was like, the first episode was just so derivative of other work, which is why it felt like, oh, what if Sky High were gritty, or what if Teen Titans were gritty, or we've had a lot of this now, and we just had a 4-hour version of another gritty superhero movie. This felt very tacked on to superhero pop culture. And if I'm not mistaken, according to IMDb, they tried to do this show a while ago, at least in the early 2010s. And I'm not surprised it took off then because the MCU is big, and I'm not surprised if it doesn't take off now because it feels kind of a dime a dozen. There are interesting things in it. But the most interesting things to me were the things they didn't really expand upon. I liked the character relationships, but they seemed like, oh, we're going to give them 1 or 2 lines, and you get the idea. And that wasn't interesting to me. You got to kind of go with one thing, and they kind of tried to cover a lot of bases.
Yeah.
to continue that quote line, Ryan, or if there was a diet animated version of The Boys.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this kind of was. Yeah, it's almost like they really were not hiding the fact that this is very, very rip-offy. I mean, the characters are so like you said, derivative. I mean, Omni-Man is obviously like the Superman of this world. Nightwing is like Batman. There's that chick who like turns all green, and she's kind of like almost like Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern, and even like
Hulk.
Yeah. So it's like everybody is they're kind of like, you can connect the dot from here to here, here to here, and it's like, and I get that there's after a while the well runs dry of superheroes, but at the same time, like, come on, you got to show a little bit of creativity. Like, oh man, Omni-Man's from another planet where they fly, they're super strong, they're quick. Oh, where have we seen this from? I couldn't tell you. So like you guys said, it's very, it's not terribly boring where you want to like rip your arm off or something. It's like,
Right.
but there's enough like boredom to be like, why am I watching this again? Like, there's just enough to keep you going to the next episode. Like, I want to see what happens, but like, it almost kind of feels like it's a little ADD sometimes in where it wants to go and focus on the storyline. Like, do we want to focus on Mark and his personal life? Do we really want to, cater him to be this superhero? What do we want to focus on? And someone down the line said yes to all of it. And I'm like, okay, it's very out of focus here. And to that point, it's like, okay, like, I'm glad that somebody told me about this show. I had no idea it was like this gritty before going into it until my friend told me about it. And I was like, oh, you're telling me it's like this? So I'm glad I kind of had that little cushion before going in.
That must have been nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryan, you didn't have that
okay.
cushion to fall on. But see, this show, that's what's interesting about this is it has that grittiness, but like it'll go into a lull of like where you could maybe think that this was like Justice League, the old animated show from like the 90s, because it's pretty for a while wholesome, and then snap, oh wait, we got to have some head exploding action, we got to have somebody cussing, dropping an F-bomb somewhere, and somebody making a lewd gesture or something, sexual content, like, oh hey, we got to do that for the sake of doing it. I'm like, okay, that's like, if that's gonna be your thing, then at least own it and do it all the way through. Like, The Boys is crude, but at least it owns it and goes all the way through. This one, like, they want to try and be this like edgy thing, but then they kind of don't do it for a while, and they're like, oh man, we got to fit in that edginess. I agree, Clint, that the side characters are way, I think, more interesting than they should be than the main characters. Like, one of my most interesting characters is, I think he's literally called Robot. Like, he's a robot superhero.
Zachary Quinto.
Yep. There you go. I like him the most. He's the most interesting. He has the most depth, even though he's monotone. Yeah, I want to know a little bit like what's his involvement later on. But yeah, I would give this same thing. I'd give it like a 6. It's not horrible, but I could see myself forgetting about this in like 5 to 6 months time.
You guys are all ridiculous. Ridiculous. All of you. I am a fan of Robert Kirkman. I love the first 4 seasons and first several volumes of Walking Dead. I enjoyed that. It got a little stale, especially the TV show, but I don't really blame him for that. I haven't really watched the last 4 seasons or read the last compendium, by the way. I didn't know anything about this going into it. But I agree with what all of you say about how it's not that original or how it borrows things from other superheroes. But that's the point of this, man. I think that's what he's trying to come. I mean, that's the whole idea. This is a show, and you wouldn't know it from the first episode, but it is part boys. It does have that graphic. It's part, almost part Kick-Ass just because of the comedy in it. I enjoyed it to a point. I really respected the fact the dodgy turn where at the beginning where you have that guard in the first scene and he's talking about his family, and you kind of expect, what the rating of the show is, what's going to happen. He's talking about his family, and then right off the bat you're like, man, this guy is probably going to die. This guy is totally going to die. He's going to die, and that's the joke. And then that doesn't happen, and everybody gets saved. And it's perfect, and everybody's happy, and everything's good. And then the whole episode progresses, and this kid gets his powers, and things are a little a little negative around the outside, but nothing crazy happens. And then Robert Kirkman, and when they're putting the show together, and I'm sure this happens probably at the end of one of the graphic novels, you know, they have this spoiler alert crazy thing that happens and everyone's dead. And you're like, what is this? And it's over the top. And it's not like really over the top. If you're thinking about superheroes killing each other, this is what it's going to look like. It's not like anything really random or crazy like that. This is how they're going to die. So, and then after that episode, you're like, wow, this is the world that we're in. This is interesting. This show can hit that tone. And then you go into the next episode, and then it opens up this whole new world where you have different groups of superheroes and this political aspect. You've got like a government agency. You've got, you know, aliens, you've got demon detectives, you got all these things and all these characters that are interacting with each other. And I just think it's super awesome and super intriguing. And I think it's a really interesting show so far. Now, albeit it's only 3 episodes in, and that first episode is a bit of a marathon, even for 40 minutes. It's a bit to get through because it's not that original until you get to the end. And then I think you can kind of respect that for what it is, that it's setting you up just for that last scene. And then the show goes on to what it really is. I don't really think, I mean, you say the violence is over the top, but at the same time, you go and you see like Justice League or whatever, and no blood or guts happens. Nothing happens. These people just get punched, fly across the room, and just get up as if nothing happens. You don't see, you know, buildings falling on random citizens. I mean, stuff happens to them. It's just not on screen. So I don't think anything in the show is anything over the top than what would happen if an alien invasion came in and started shooting lasers at everybody. So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the characters. First episode, I would definitely give it a 7. The next one's going on. I probably would give it an 8 just because I enjoy all the characters so far and nothing has really turned me off. Once something happens, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen to that character. Even the alien from space, like I'm really hoping he comes back. I'm hoping he plays a part in this show. Yeah. Like I feel like he's going to be a bigger part in this show, like the way it happened. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I have one nitpicky thing that involves around him, but I'll save it for.
But that's it. Before I go into spoilers, if we are going to handle spoilers, I just don't want to do too many spoilers talking right now.
That scene was my favorite scene in the show so far.
Wait, which one? Just so
with Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah.
That was the perfect tone.
Okay, I didn't know that's what Matt was talking about. No, my bugaboo is about something else. But go ahead, Ryan.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I was just gonna try to counter a point. I agree with you, Matt. And if this happened, it would be as violent as it is. And I don't think it's really the level of violence that is the thing that bothers. I think it's just the way they approach it in the first episode. And I can see why they did this and kind of held it off until right at the end, to kind of bring you into the tone at the end of the show. But it also feels like they wrote the first episode, got to the last scene, and they were like, crap, there's no way we can do this without it being TVMA. Let's go back and add a couple things in the first episode to kind of make it more TVMA, and then we'll write the rest of the show accordingly. I think they could have done a better job at advertising earlier on what the show was going to feel like. And you're probably right. I think you're right. I think it's meant to disarm the audience. It does it in such a blunt way. I also haven't seen The Boys, so I might not have that curve. I don't think I was able to appreciate that as much. I can see the intention behind it, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go spoilers, because I feel like we're dancing around this whole scene. So let's go spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, the final scene in the episode 1 is where Omni-Man just kind of like takes out the Guardians of the Globe or whatever, the Justice League of this kind of era. And yeah, Matt, I think that like this was to disarm like our audience, or the audience anyway. Like I said, I kind of knew like of this and like who the characters were and like their story arc, so I wasn't like taken back by what happened, where he takes out everybody. I think it was just, and like you said, maybe this is just the way that it was written, because I haven't read the books, is maybe because just the sheer viciousness of it, I guess is the only word I can think of. I think that was the only thing that was disarming. It wasn't the violence or stuff like that. And I think it was just like
It was more violent than the first Saw.
Yeah. But I think the difference with this, Ryan, and with the boys is like the boys owns it. Like right off the bat, this is going to be a crude kind of like violent type of show, and you're kind of warmed into it. Where like you said, Matt, where like this one was just like whack, and like you were slapped in the face with it, and I think that was a little bit more disarming than like the boys is.
Slapped in the face with a giant metal mace.
Like I reiterated this before. I think that was the point of the episode, obviously, and I think the episode was made that way. Hence why you see him flying off within distance, and then you do this thing where they've done it all 3 episodes where they show created by and written by Robert Kirkman. You get that card, and then you get like another 5-minute clip of something usually pretty important happening, which is in this clip. It's all those the Guardians of what are they called again?
Guardians of the Globe.
Guardians of the Globe showing up and then getting massacred very graphically. And I get that. I mean, I get how graphic and vicious it is, and I think he does that. Kirkman does that a lot in Walking Dead too, where you have these people living around, zombies or whatnot. They're doing their day-to-day lives. Then all of a sudden you have one just ripped all apart, their head over here and their arms over here and their guts eaten. So, I mean, that's what he's doing. I just think that intros you to the world and what in this world and how graphic and vicious things can be. And it's kind of like why I like Justice League, is because I felt that peril and that viciousness almost in that world. And you could argue, hey, they didn't use that graphic violence or whatever. And I get that. I enjoy that. I like Kick-Ass and I like The Boys. And, as far as graphic novels go, I respected that. And, it is what it is. It shows how violent Omni-Man can be. And I'm sure he's going to be violent later on. I have no clue where this show is going to go. If I was a betting man, I would guess that Omni-Man's probably some type of sleeper agent, but I'm not sure. And that he's here to take over the planet or at least destroy everybody. But we'll see what happens down the road. I still enjoy it, and I can't wait to see what happens. Honestly, I'm really interested to see what happens to these characters, and if the next episodes actually, dispose how permanent these characters are actually in this show. That's kind of what interests me a little bit.
Matt, it's funny that you say that because The Walking Dead manages a heavy amount of violence on a TV-14 rating, so it can be done.
Well. Yeah, but I think to Matt's point though is like The Walking Dead on the AMC is not Kirkman, because if I remember correctly, I think they dropped him after the first or second season.
No, he was there for a while. He was there for like I think when I stopped.
Till the farm.
The farm, but yeah.
I own season 1. I think it's a nice miniseries.
There you go.
Same for Heroes. Just combine those two, and that's.
Yeah. But I mean, I think with Walking Dead, though, I think Kirkman like struck gold, and it's like the perfect time because they introduced that show right when like zombies was coming back, and like they struck gold with that. And this, I think, with the boys and like the MCU shows and everything else like that, I'm just kind of afraid that like Invincible is going to be like swallowed up.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we had watched Invincible like in January following Wonder Woman, I would have been like, this is so much better. Now watching it after like a 10 times better version of a bad superhero movie that consumed 4 hours, watching an hour and a half for me of average superhero, it's just kind of, and then getting through. I watched this back to back with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
So
I might watch more though.
I'm with you, Ryan, where it's like I'm interested enough to see where it goes, but like I said, I'm not setting my watch to it. After like.
Hey, what time is it? I think the new episode's on right now, guys. I gotta go.
But yeah, like I'm not counting down the days for it to come out. Like I'll probably catch up on it. Like if a few episodes come out, and then I'll catch up like a few episodes at a time. But So we have one more thing to review. Do we have any other thoughts on Invincible?
Oh no, hold on. I did my one
Okay.
bugaboo. I forgot to mention it. It was so they have those alien guys who like come here and we're gonna conquer the world. Oh no, sorry. We're gonna go back. Then we're gonna conquer the world. Oh no, we gotta go do things again. We're gonna conquer the world. Anyway. And their whole thing is that they age really quickly because I don't know, they're exposed to this atmosphere or something, or they're so it's backwards the way they explain it. So if they come here and they age really, really quick, that means that their time should be really, really slow, right? So they're not accustomed to. So if their hour goes like this, and then they come here and the hour goes like this, then I could see that. Okay. But when they go back, and then come back again to Earth, they said, man, how did they already know how to defeat us in 3 days? And Robot goes, that's like 3 decades to them. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. If 3 days here is really fast, that should have been like 3 hours to them. So I'm not getting this. Why? What? That was my whole bugaboo about it. Like, okay, tell me that the atmosphere makes their skin like decay quicker or something like that. Don't tell me that they age faster.
No, I think it's because their time is their real time, and it goes faster when they're here. Like, hold on, I have this in my brain.
See?
Oh, wait, so
See?
I get it. So they are moving faster at their time, and when they come here, their bodies are adjusting to their time, are still just to their time, and our slower time.
Yeah.
See? I told you.
I was more concerned with the fact that the big leader alien gets old and goes and comes back and he's young. And
Yes,
then he gets
that's
old
what
and
I thought
goes and
too.
he comes back and he's young.
I thought that too. I'm like, how does he keep getting back younger? I'm like, he has the fountain of youth. Why does he
Maybe
want
it's
to be
his
here?
son all 3 times. Twice.
Look, I'm going to interrupt you all. We're not supposed to make sense on this show, so
It's a funny gag.
Well,
It's a funny part of the show.
okay, whatever.
We gotta talk some logic before our next review.
I'm like, okay, sorry. So
which
I
is
just
all
felt
full of
like-
logic.
I just felt like I had a good point.
No, you do, Alex. I was just kidding. Like I don't know either. I was listening to you and I was like, wait, because their time's supposed to speed like their. Like he explained it, like his DNA, their DNA is running faster than ours. So when they come, I don't know if it's like here, like it speeds up.
It's kind of like you're riding in like a car that's going 60 miles an hour, and then you're like, I'm going to attack a planet Earth, and you jump out the side of the car off a cliff and you die.
Oh, okay. Now I got it.
Yeah,
Got it. All right.
So the alien planet is the car, and when you hit the ground, that's going 60 miles, not 60 miles an hour, is Earth.
Why am I trying to explain this bland
I think
show?
isn't it more like if you're driving a 60-mile-an-hour car and you jump out and you hit like a really hard wall of gelatin.
Yeah.
You still die.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, oh, that's a really cool concept. And that's it.
yeah.
Which I think it was a pretty cool concept. I like the fact that they had a threat. I was like, oh, nope, that didn't work. Ah.
Yeah.
But wristbands,
right.
the best they could.
Yeah, they get some in nightclubs. Get some in the clubs. So our last review of the night is Godzilla versus Kong. Yay! Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's Godzilla versus
Wait,
Kong.
everyone's going to be confused if they don't know what the movie's about. Can you give them a synopsis, Clint?
Godzilla and King Kong fight each other a couple times.
Wait, you've
A
lost
few
me.
times.
Hang on, Godzilla's the lizard or the monkey?
Godzilla is the lizard,
I think he is the
kaiju.
the orangutan.
Wait, Pacific
Wait.
Rim's in this?
Wait,
Yeah.
so who gets the girl at the end of this movie?
Tommy Lee Jones.
That kid from Hunt of the Wilder People.
That kid from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Weird accent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot he was in this, by the way.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah, right.
I can't even explain this movie. Like, I watched all hour and 53 minutes of this movie, and I couldn't. I can't explain this to you. Like, I don't even understand what the hell was going on.
I'm glad you said that. I thought the same thing, but keep going.
I can if you want a good synopsis. That's not.
I already said that we don't make sense on the show.
It doesn't need a synopsis.
Everyone get their popcorn. Ron's about to explain this movie to everybody.
I mean, Godzilla's on a warpath, and the humans are trying to figure out why. Meanwhile, the other humans have this theory, and they need King Kong to help to accomplish this theory to stop Godzilla.
Yeah.
In Hollow Earth.
It's the old one. It's the 1962/3 one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very much a remake of that, which is just amazing.
Oh, with no helium balloons.
Yeah, or electricity striking Kong to supercharge him so that he has a fair fight against Godzilla. That movie has the sissiest movie fights outside of Superman 3 and 4.
All right, so let's just go ahead and give our quick ratings right quick, just so we can have fun talking about this movie with spoilers advanced.
Can I say something before we do this?
Yeah.
I have a rating for this. It will change by the time we're done talking about it.
Okay.
7. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It just didn't make sense to me. So let's go 6. Yeah, 6.
I think the same. 6. Now I think this is the normal, maybe a little less than average amount of monster fighting that these types of movies should have. But I guess compared to, the high adrenaline that King of the Monsters was a few years ago, it lacks in comparison. So you go from this like, oh my gosh, they're fighting every second, to this where it doesn't feel that. So
yeah.
I also agree. Some of it was a little confusing, like what? Huh? It was a fine time. Would I watch it again? Sure. Will I own it? Probably.
Same.
But I'm not like, I don't know. 6 out of 10. It left me wanting for more, but
Godzilla.
Yeah, of something a little bit more, not in a good way. Like there was lacking to this movie.
I am you guys giving this a 6, man. In my mind, that's fresh. And this movie is anything but fresh, sir. It really honestly probably deserves a 4. I would give this a 5 just because of the fight structure in this film and the way they try to like even things up, kind of. But it really deserves a 4. Now let me backtrack. I've have 2 ratings for this. If you want to go see a movie with monsters fighting each other and big explosions and a live action like Rampage movie, this should have been Rampage, by the way.
Don't say that. Stop talking about Rampage.
I'm just saying, compared to the other Rampage, this would have made a better.
This movie's Citizen Kane compared to that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're making my point. This would have been a better Rampage.
I see what you're saying now. Saying now. Fun fact for anybody's listening: Rampage, I think is the worst film ever made.
That's heavy, man.
Fourth budget.
That's a bold claim.
But yes, as far as like popcorn eating, going to a theater, having a good time, don't think about logic or anything like that or a plot, and know what you're gonna get. It's probably like a 7 or an 8. Go enjoy yourselves. But realistically, it's like a 4.5.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. I gave it a 5. It deserves a 4. My reasoning is I gave Skull Island a 4. It doesn't deserve a 3. This is better than Skull Island, but it's not better than King of the Monsters, but it's not worse than King of the Monsters, and I gave that a 5. Maybe it is better than King of the Monsters because I can see what was happening.
Ryan, what are you doing? Modular arithmetic? What the heck is going on here?
He's logically putting his score together.
I'm ranking it against these beauties here on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. So, like, this is a very much a Kong movie, and like,
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Kong's in this?
let's just do spoilers for this.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Let's do. Can we do like spoilers for the first half and spoilers for the second half? Because there is like an actual big spoiler in this that the movie gives away 2 minutes in.
That this is a Kong
For
movie.
anybody who knows, no, for anybody who knows anything about the Godzilla universe.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, this
I don't
is
know.
just
What is
full
that spoiler?
I don't know, Clint. I
The
felt like,
eyeball.
yeah, well, let's do spoiler. I felt like you did in every superhero movie where I was like, oh, it's a technology company. Got it. Whole movie.
Yeah.
There's no other reason for them to be there.
Yeah. Well, even I got it. I was like, that looks like a giant eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I was sitting there thinking kind of that. I thought, you know, we were like, who do you think's gonna win, Godzilla or King Kong? And I'm like, I called this like verbatim, but I think anybody, you know, with any IQ could have called this, where no, they're not gonna end up fighting at all. They're gonna find some common enemy.
Doomsday.
Yeah, right.
Mm,
Exactly. So and they're end up gonna be like, let's tag team, wallop. And so the
I
fact
think they
that
actually said that too.
yeah,
They say everything that happens in this movie, so they might as well have said that.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So
working together.
I think there's so lack of surprise to this that, you know, they don't deviate from anything, like from, you know, Brian's saying it right there. This is version from what, 1962, 63 from the
Both.
previous version. So yeah, I mean, it's like, it's just very, very modern with its graphics, and that's about it.
Well, so this is my problem, because my review is probably going to go down. My number is probably going to go down after I start talking about this. There's a couple things that I couldn't stand about this movie. One was those flyover shots. You know, those shots they kind of fly over, and it's like when you fly, you're on your back and it's upside down, and you twist back right up against,
Yeah.
like, right upside.
This had
They
a
did that
handful
like
of those.
3 times, and I'm like, okay, can we stop with this? Like, everybody gets it. Okay. The second thing that annoyed me about this is, why is Godzilla like staring down everybody? Did you notice that? There's like
Show his authority.
like 3 or 4 times, like he's like like this whole T-Rex thing. Yeah. It was like, are we like mean mugging people? Like, what
Yeah,
is the
that's his
deal with this?
personality, man. He wants to show you that he's tough, so he's got to be like, I'm Godzilla. And then if you get enough respect from him, he growls in your face.
Yeah. Okay. Thirdly, Adam Wingard, who directed this movie, actually said that there was going to be a definitive like victor to this
Okay,
movie.
time out.
Box office.
If you
Yeah,
if
right.
if you're about to say there is not a definitive victor in this movie, there is definitely a definitive victor in this movie. And I'm not being, there's no joke here. Just not one of them dies. It's like you have round 1 in the ocean and Godzilla wins that. Then
Which
you
they
have
do tell you.
yeah, that they do it. They say it right to your face in this movie. And then you got round 2 in the city, the atomic breath round, where apparently that's all Godzilla does is spam his atomic breath. But somehow Kong wins that. And then you just have the hand-to-hand aggressive fight between both of them. Round 3, the rubber round, or rubber match, or rubber game, if you want to call it, if you watch baseball.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla wins that. He pins Kong on the ground, yells at him, and they yell back, and then Kong almost dies. He doesn't die. He almost dies. But thanks to Alexander Skarsgård and his man of jack of all trades, he learns how to re-engineer a ship to become one of those electronic devices that
Defibrillator.
re-engineer a ship to become a defibrillator to save the monster. So this is after, of course, he turns into Han Solo. So
Movie's so stupid.
Yeah, you know, that was you say that, Matt. Yeah, and I agree absolutely about the scientific nature about this. Okay, obviously it's about big old monsters. We don't have to make a lot of sense here. But I mean, come on, you gotta have something. Oh man, we've got this $1 trillion car that can go through the Earth's core and something. And I can science. Now it's a defibrillator.
Alex, you make
what's our favorite saying? We've got a movie.
He's got a movie.
Yeah, there you go.
There's the thing. It doesn't. It writes itself into a corner and then immediately resolves itself in the scene that it does it in. There's the whole sequence where they're like, man, we tried this once before and my brother died. Oh, it's okay. We fixed the problem. Don't write the problem into the story. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have a problem going to the center of the earth if you're not going to have a problem going to the center of the earth. There's no purpose in not showing that.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because who's this brother? Like, what, am I supposed to care about this brother? Like,
no.
There's no backstory. Is there like a character from another movie I missed?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
It's actually Brendan Fraser from Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Okay.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I legitimately had the same thought, Clint. I was like, I don't remember this character, and I mean, are we supposed to know who that is? Like, yeah. I mean, I was like, okay.
And who built this temple?
Okay, don't even get me started, man. After watching this movie, I've decided I need to build a new house, so I'm contacting as many apes as I can. Because I've seen this movie, and apparently their architectural skills are on point.
Well, don't they make like some throwaway line in King of the Monsters? Because when he goes underwater / underground to ignite a nuclear bomb to save Godzilla / kill Ken Watanabe because he doesn't want to do this anymore. Isn't there don't they make a joke about like some ancient civilization building all this stuff?
Probably.
And I'm
like, probably.
How?
I must have needed to finish King of the Monsters because I did not understand where the center of the earth thing came from.
Yeah, they do. They bring it up. I think they mention it twice, once per movie of the 2 movies prior. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those Avengers things where it's not consequential. Oh, it's really, really important now. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're Kong's going to get his butt kicked in this movie, so we need a place for him to go once the movie's over so he can be king of someplace.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think the 2 things I had an issue with is there's tons I had an issue with, but the one I can think about, the most recent was, Matt, you said it, or either you or Clint said it, somebody said it, where Godzilla has that I got that stare down face that you go from I loved King of the Monsters. When I saw that, I was like, I have to own this. This Batman versus Superman just with monsters for me. A lot of people didn't like it.
And less interesting.
Yeah. Be that as it may, I really, really enjoyed it. I liked it. And Godzilla had this kind of almost not nobility, but that's the best word I can think of, where he's I'm here to defend the earth technically. I'm gonna go to sleep, y'all don't bug me, and when things start shaking up, that's when I come. I'm not here to be I'm the man, I'm Godzilla, you do what I say, but and what little bit he is in, that's the other thing I had an issue with. He is in this almost very little, very, very little.
Yeah, I think he's less than the 2014 one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I like the 2014 one, but that's the thing. I was where is he? And this has even less. And so it's what little he's in, he's showing that I got that swagger. I've got that, it's just so unappealing. So maybe I'm talking myself to a unfresh score. I don't know, maybe by video's end. It'll be that way. I want to like this movie. I really want to like this movie, especially since this is the first big theatrical release in a long time. Semi quality. I mean, it's better than Wonder Woman. I can honestly say that's a good thing about this movie. It's better than that. If we're gonna take any positive out of this, it's got to be that.
I've got questions though, and hopefully you guys can answer them for me about this plot. I understand Godzilla's motivation that he wants to be the apex, the big monster. He wants to be the one who's in charge. So I understand him wanting to fight Godzilla. I'm understanding him wanting to fight, the apex version. what I don't understand is, okay, one, why are they going to Hollow Earth again? Why are they going there?
So that Kong can get a big weapon.
Is that why?
No,
And also so they can use in the plot.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. They use a little thing to attach to a thing, and then suddenly Apex Godzilla is working, and then that's it.
Like, I'm like, why are they going here in the first place? Why do they need like, King? Why do they need Kong? And then when they get there, Kong has that little fight and runs to this, his palace of Konganism, and he finds an axe just kind of laying on the ground, and he's like, I love this. And then he's like, oh man, I'm gonna lay it in this indentation on the ground that looks like just like, it doesn't even look like it should go there almost. But he just sets it there, and the floor lights up, and then Apex Godzilla shows up.
Can we just call him Mecha Godzilla?
Yeah, yes, we can. Mecha Godzilla. Yeah. So it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was my problem with like the beginning of this movie, because I think they rushed through that. Because all I remember, like really kind of like going through, is that they needed to go down there, and they were using Kong because he's from there, and like all the Titans were from Hollow Earth, and so there were something about a harrow pigeon or the homing pigeons or whatever, and there was that goo or whatever, crystals or whatever that was down there that they wanted for Mechagodzilla. That's all I got out of it.
And where the heck were my cameos? You've got like 26 monster movies that you can cameo in Hollow Earth. Let's do none of them.
You get nothing, sir. Nothing.
Yeah.
You lose.
and also, one more thing, or this is probably not one more thing. Millie Bobby Brown's character, literally, and her friend, and I don't even know the other guy.
Theorist.
Yeah, conspiracy theorist. There's literally no point for them being in this movie except for them to spill drink on a console. Exactly. That is literally, you could write, they don't need to be in this film at all. And if you take them out, the only thing you have to change is how is somebody going to spill drink on a console? That's literally it.
Yeah. Matt, you had a really good point. Even in the 2014 one, these movies cannot get the human characters right at all. Mm-hmm. This is 4 out of 4. And Alex, I know you love King of the Monsters. If King of the Monsters had good lighting and were 15 minutes less of Kyle Chandler, it'd be an amazing movie.
Let me cut in just for a second.
Okay.
I sat in this movie and I was like thinking about you saying that about King of the Monsters. And I was like, in this movie, I absolutely get it. I 100% get it. In fact, I probably get it more of this movie than you did of that movie. So I can finally see your pain. Continue.
Yeah, well, because in that movie, it's like here's a bunch of characters. They all have their different skill sets. Here's Kyle Chandler. He has all of them and makes them all redundant. This does the same thing, except they split them up into the pairs. And Matt, you said it's like they wrote those 3 characters in so that they could have the Godzilla side of the story, which is the cheesiest B story that still belongs in the 60s ever. I don't even know. I mean, I get Mechagodzilla needs to exist because he does in the old movies, because that made sense then. Why on earth would a giant company named Apex build another Godzilla? Build a suit. Build a Jaeger from Pacific Rim.
That's my idea. Like the whole movie, they're shooting like explosives, like missiles at these beasts. And I'm like, you've known about these guys for 50 years. And we're still in 2020, mind you, we're still just shooting explosives at these guys. You've got lasers in this Mechagodzilla thing. Why don't we have little big laser guns that we're shooting at them? Why do we have to go? You're going like 0 to 100 right here, man. Do little steps.
You're completely right, because the technology goes from modern to 70s, which was modern for when that movie comes out, to modern to like 2035. And the best they can do with it is build another Godzilla who immediately becomes sentient because maybe Ghidorah's skull. But then if Ghidorah's skull is the one attracting Godzilla, why did he go to Florida in the first place? Because that's in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'm talking myself to a 5. I still want to like this movie. Yeah. It's not fresh though.
Look, I'm gonna pull something positive about this whole thing. I did like Brian what's his name? Tyler Tree. What shit?
Conspiracist.
Yes, I liked his character.
He was funny.
I think he did a good job with that character. Did he was he necessary? No, absolutely not. He was not necessary. Millie Bobby Brown was just like, she got in a van and then got into like a speeder pod and then like showed up and was like, Godzilla.
And the worst security system, or the worst security guards on the planet.
Well, at least you didn't talk. At least you didn't talk to the camera any of this movie.
Dang it, Matt! I hate you. Bring me to it. No, I was gonna say, all I ever saw when I saw her in this movie was, I'm like, yeah, that just makes me hate Enola Holmes more. I'm sorry.
Okay, Clint, I'm with you. There are definitely positives to be had, and the performances are definitely one of them. I have to recant. I was ragging on this movie when I saw the trailer on the big screen for its angles. It's shot pretty well. I mean, there's still really annoying, showy camera angles, like the ones that put the camera in the action and do that weird long spinning across the fight. Doesn't matter. It's just distracting. But they do, when they choose to get ground up scale, it's pretty big.
Right.
And I don't think I'm going to change mine from a 5. It's still dumb. It's still fun. When it's fun, it's fun. And the fighting, Matt, you said the structure of the fighting, really good. The biggest comparison I have to is the original, where Godzilla's only move is to just spam his atomic breath, and Kong's only move is to just pick Godzilla up by the tail and spin him. Not throw him, just spin him, or occasionally throw a couple rocks.
Yeah. Look, like,
Until he gets struck by lightning.
This is a positive 5. This isn't like a negative, like trash, like 5. Because like you said, Matt, like to start this whole off, like you said, like if you know, like you're not, like it's the Fast and the Furious movies. I'm sorry. Like, you know what you're getting with the Fast and the Furious movies. The plot doesn't make sense. These characters are dumb. But it's the action and the cars and the, falling out of space. Family. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. And Vin Diesel's bald head. I have no idea. But this is exactly what this is. If you're expecting, like you said, Ryan, like Citizen Kane, you're going to be highly disappointed. And then you get to destroy a robot Godzilla. So there you go.
I mean, if they can just get a good, an interesting plot that doesn't have as many plot holes, and they, like Ryan said, get the human element correct, which you mentioned, I feel like the only human element that was, had any emotional impact in this whole movie was that little girl who was actually talking to Kong the entire time, who was actually really deaf in real life. I looked that up because I was interested in to see if that was the case. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. Like, I thought that worked. Everyone else, you're good. Kyle Chandler didn't need to be in here, and neither did Millie Bobby Brown. And they could have saved so much money not putting them in this movie.
Matt, that one subplot had more heart than all of Skull Island.
Yeah,
true that.
And I agree. I think that was between her and Kong, the Kong side of the story for one movie to 2, and in previous movies you get a couple Kong movies spread out against a 26 movie series with remakes and spin-offs. They did a really good job catching up with Kong and making you care about him as a character by the end of the movie. I had no care at all about King Kong at the beginning of this movie, because I saw this Kong in Skull Island and that was it. By the end, I was like, oh, I like Kong better than this Godzilla. Alex, that's also a negative, like you said, Alex. He's just there to.
I totally agree. Like it's just half as full, or however you say it. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, you end up liking Kong a lot more in this. No, it's funny you mentioned the little girl, Matt. There were like 2 scenes where it became kind of like Sound of Metal, where it kind of deafens you for a little bit, so then you can kind of experience it. And I dug that in Sound of Metal, but I don't know about you guys, but when they did that, it made me feel like not only could I not hear, but I was like in an airplane, and what is it? When your ears are like popping. Yeah. And I was like, I kept trying to trying to pop my ears, and I was just like, I can't do it. I need the scene to be over. I hated that.
But Alex, you gotta remember that when an adult does arithmetic, it's good. And when Sound of Metal does sound editing, it's good. When a 2-year-old does arithmetic, it's amazing. So for this movie to not do something instead of being like, she's deaf.
I mean, okay. I mean,
It's
I get
the
it.
smartest moment in the whole movie. I drove me nuts. I guess round 2 goes to Kong. Shut up. We're watching. Like, I might drop my rating down to a 4. This movie's stupid. they just say everything that happens, and then Mechagodzilla wakes up, and he breaks free and kills his creator and breaks out and starts fighting, and then 2 solid minutes of fighting. Millie Bobby Brown's like, he's sentient. I'm like, yeah, we're watching.
Does it ever explain him like why he becomes sentient?
I think it's because Ghidorah's skull is being used as a basis of operation, and Ghidorah's an alien. Not that they say any of that. I've just seen the older movies.
But see, that's exactly where your previous point was, Ryan. It's like there's no communication. They just kind of expect you to accept that, like you put it together yourself.
And do they need to be running a giant machine through a giant alien skull? That's really unsafe.
No.
And they keep calling it Monster Zero. It's an alien. It's not okay to use. Godzilla knows it. He's there to destroy it. He even goes to the wrong country in Florida to try to destroy it.
There's also that like we've kind of mentioned it with the whole round 1, round 2 thing. Like they say, oh, it's Monster Zero, Ghidorah. It's something. It's something Godzilla. No, it's Mecha Godzilla. Like, can you stop with that, please? Can you get any cheesier?
The nitpick, the movies didn't blend well. They tried to like bring in like the skull crawlers. They're gonna fight Mechagodzilla. It doesn't blend well. Leave that movie back in Skull Island. I don't know.
Staying at a 5. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I'll end up hating things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one more thought. Tom Hulkenberg's score. Bright side. It's really awesome. It's got like some genuine emotion to it. It's a killer fight sequences, very Mad Max Snyder Cut-esque action sequences. Loved the score. Why the heck are we on theme number 4 for Godzilla, 3 for Godzilla, and 2 for Kong? Alexander Desplat score for the first 2014 Godzilla, awesome, fantastic, great new themes. Skull Island, pretty fun. Then they were like, oh no, we don't like that. Let's go back and use the classic themes. Okay, that's fine, whatever. I like the classic themes. Screw that. We're gonna rewrite them again. Pick one.
They gotta get paid, man. They gotta write more stuff, new stuff.
What's funny is though this classic scores pre-77 are not great. Even the great ones are not that great. The score for Godzilla and the score for Kong from 54 and 33 respectively are really awesome. Why are we writing big dumb themes that aren't memorable still? Just use those.
To go with big dumb movies that aren't memorable, Ryan.
That's I'm gonna shut up. That's a good one.
That is true.
Check and mate.
All right. And that was Godzilla versus Kong. So coming up next week, guys, we're going to do Promising Young Woman. Since I believe 2 out of the 4 of us, there she is. 2 out of the 4 of us have not watched it yet, and there's nothing else coming out. So, yeah.
Wait, who's the other one who hasn't watched it here? Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you all did.
Yeah,
Okay.
Matt, we're going to be snobs next week.
Very much so.
Snubs.
Yeah.
And it'll be really refreshing after this, actually.
Probably.
Hopefully.
Any final thoughts, guys?
Many.
Wait, how do we feel? Does anyone even feel let down that there wasn't a post-credit scene in that movie?
Yes. Okay. I agree. I sat through the whole thing. I was like, I gotta sit through a 2-hour stupid movie, then credits.
I was lucky enough to be surrounded by people who had already watched it, so I said, is there anything afterwards? And we all were like, no. I was like,
And then
"Oh."
you're like, I don't believe you. I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah, no, I left.
It's funny. That was twice in a week because I stayed through the end of the credits for nobody because I was like, here's that secret John Wick cameo. There's no secret John Wick cameo at the end.
Oh, I was like, wait,
is it-
spoil it.
Is it in the same world?
It may be. No.
No.
I mean, it does. If it is, it doesn't matter.
If you want it to be, then you can have it that way.
I remember when Atomic Blonde came out, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's the same director. This could be like a prequel to how this organization." And people were like, "Stop! Just watch an action movie." Now I'm like, "Oh, it could be in the same universe."
Not at all. Well, to your question, Matt, that's what Adam Wingard said, is that there was supposed to be a post-credit scene, but I guess like they added like the Mega Godzilla stuff, and that was supposed to be the end credit scene or something. So it was supposed to end with.
No, you said that and it jogged my memory. I did read. They wanted to put one on there, but at the same time they didn't want to commit to anything because they committed in the last one, and I forgot the character from the last end credit scene isn't in this movie or something. I can't remember like that. So that's why they didn't want to do it, because they didn't want to commit.
Yeah, it was Tywin.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, and I thought about that. I was like, this character's missing from this, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Charles
how
Prince?
Monarch has no play in this movie. It's not important at all, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Not just the big organization that we did a post-credit scene in Skull Island for, but then didn't bring back Brie Larson or Tom Hiddleston and his samurai sword.
Okay.
Not that I want like a 50-year-old Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, we're done. We should.
Yeah, we gotta stop. We could go on forever with this.
I can keep going.
Yeah, we should go on forever for this.
I think I retrospectively like the 2014 one less. Now that I've seen, it's like the Transformers syndrome. I liked it. It was a good start. Great effects. Awesome story structure. Now we're on like movie 4, and I'm like, these are stupid. My IQ is going down, and my respect for these movies are going down.
The plot for the first one is bad. There's some really bad plot points in that, which I will not get into right now, but I do not like any of them. This one I think was the most entertaining, I think. But
I like this one. And this one.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. All right. So with no final thoughts, hopefully. Just want to thank everyone for watching.
Bring back Eric Taylor Johnson.
Oh yeah, where's he at?
He's in WandaVision. Oh. He's actually
Ryan, he's not.
Fun fact, I want to say they got offered those roles because of that movie, Godzilla.
Yeah, somebody was like, you guys make great siblings. Let's make you a married couple.
Yeah. It's the other way around. You guys make a great married couple. Let's make you siblings.
Ultron came out. Oh, you're right. No, you're right.
Look at that chemistry. You should be brothers and sisters.
Just mute us all, Clint. Just wrap it up.
We're pushing 2 hours again, guys. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and please leave us a comment. Please, nothing else. This meeting is adjourned. Good night, guys.
Later.